2021 versus 2020 resolutions. In the competition for which year will be better, it's a no-brainer. What could possibly not be better than this year? But just surviving 2020 and making it to 2021 without changing anything is no guarantee that the next year will actually be better. It's like not changing our diet or exercise or lifestyle and expecting to be in miraculously good shape. Here's a hint. That won't happen. If we do nothing different is possible. And we're setting ourselves up for a repeat of 2020, the year from hell. Yes, the year from hell. Anybody interested in repeating 2020? Doing that all over again? Nobody? Nobody? You? Unless we're ready for a do-over. And maybe making better resolutions can get us off to a better start for a better year. Hi, I'm James Callahan, and I have to admit, I've never been a fan of making New Year's resolutions. To me, writing them down, sharing them, posting them, has never been very helpful. It just feels too automatic. And when I read that almost 80% of all New Year's resolutions fail by the second week of February, it doesn't give me a lot of confidence in making new resolutions myself. And less than 8% who make resolutions keep them for the entire year. Well, let's look back at the resolutions we made at the end of 2019. What were those great things we were all going to accomplish in 2020? On the top of the list were things like spending more time with family, having more time to read, to exercise, to work on ourselves, to have less time of a commute and more time together in our homes, more times to contemplate life, cook for ourselves instead of just eating fast food, or having a shorter commute where we could have better quality time at home. These are all time-related things, and one friend of mine calls it the gift of the pandemic. But how did we all do with all that extra time, locked down, quarantined, at home? 2020's top resolutions were really nothing special in the world of New Year's resolutions. From a survey back in 2019, remember the year pre-pandemic, pre-year from hell, the year we all took for granted? 28% of Americans said that they planned on making a New Year's resolution for the year that was 2020. And you probably know someone who makes New Year's resolutions, even if you don't or have never made a resolution yourself, because today, more than half of millennials say they make New Year's resolutions every single year. What did they resolve? 50% said they wanted to exercise more. 49% said they wanted to get a handle on their finances. 43% said they wanted to eat healthier. And 37% said they were going to lose weight. In one survey, 38% said that they were going to improve their mental well-being. 30% wanted to improve social connections. How'd quarantine and lockdowns and social distancing help you with that? And 22% said they were going to learn a new skill. And the same number said that they were going to be more eco-friendly. How did lockdowns and quarantine and empty highways and no commute help out with that? That may be the only resolution people made that actually came to pass. One little gem I discovered is that I actually had more work to do, and I thought that I had to do more work because I was working from home. So why do we fail to keep our resolutions? Great question. Let's start with the problem. Behavioral psychologists estimate that it takes the average person about 66 days to form a new habit so that it becomes, well, a habit, automatic, something that we do without having to think, are we going to do it today? That's 9.42857143 weeks, also known as March 7th around 11:07 a.m. Now, that's just an average, and I have no idea how they came up with it, but everyone's good with it, so let's start there. And if most who make resolutions quit before the second week of February, most will never reach that magical date of March 7th. But most who do make resolutions are confident that they'll keep them. 29% are very confident that they'll keep their resolutions throughout the year. And 48% are somewhat confident. And even though so few of us are successful, there's a masochistic 2% who make resolutions knowing full well they'll never make the end of the year. The typical reasons for failure include being too vague, like exercise more or eat less. Because more or less is relative. One day's more is another day's less. I remember back to college days when I was supposed to retrieve a van. Hopped in and I looked down at the steering wheel and there was a note written on it and it said, "Do not turn too far to the left." I sat there panicked. What is too far to the left? Can I back the van up? Can I take any left turns? Do I just have to take right turns forever and ever? So being vague is an obvious problem, but close behind it is being unrealistic and maybe a little too optimistic about our abilities. Like completing a triathlon this year when our most strenuous physical activity so far has been moving from our bed to our couch to binge what's new on Netflix. Or maybe learning a new language. Yeah, I'm going to be fluent in Mandarin in 1 year. Or maybe setting up these things and saying I'm going to start right away on January 1st. Well, after I sleep or maybe sleep something off, or you know what I mean, I'm going to get right to them January 1st. I took this advice about setting more realistic goals several years ago. Not for job or money or fame, but to practice writing by writing poetry. I'm on day 613 as of filming today on my WordPress blog, Words and Poetry, without missing a single day. I'm not a professional or published poet, and I don't expect a call from the Library of Congress any day soon announcing that I am the next poet laureate. But I'm available if they're interested. I've left my contact information in the description below. Call me. But in the meantime, I plan to post something every single day as long as I'm alive. And if I can schedule ahead 10 or 20 days, even longer. Learning the practice of building habits adds value to my life. So my suggestion is pick something. Pick something small that to keep doing it will become the biggest challenge you face. If it's doable for 5 or 10 days in a row, is it doable for 500 or 1,000 days in a row? What's the value of doing small good things every single day? Whether it's publishing poetry, writing a blog, making your bed, doing push-ups, whatever it is, new habits and life-changing transformation go hand in hand. So here comes 2021. What are the resolutions, the top resolutions for 2021? It may seem like just surviving 2020 has got to be enough. It took so much effort. There were so many changes, so many challenges for so many of us. Lost jobs, lockdowns, distancing, quarantine, and face masks. Imagine that, just 1 year ago. They were not part of our lives. Now the do-nothing crowd will say, it's impossible for 2021 to be as bad as 2020, so I don't even need to try. Maybe, maybe not. But doing nothing for a whole nother year is not a plan for success. In a recent survey shared by People magazine, a guilty pleasure, they're not a sponsor of this video, they received some pretty ordinary results and one interesting twist. The list includes perennial favorites, like 54% wanted to stick to a budget, 49% wanted to pay down debt, leaving Dave Ramsey wondering, why wasn't it 100% of you? And those are good numbers, but here's the twist for 2021. The top New Year's resolutions aren't about removing things from our life, but adding things to them, improving the quality of how we live. One is that 62% said they wanted to save more money for the future, and 50%,
also known as one half,
wanted to learn a new skill next year. And traveling more. 49% of us want to travel more. Well, considering most of us went 0 places last year, one trip is a 100% increase. Yep, that's a resolution most of us could keep. And 58% want to have a more positive outlook on life. A more positive outlook on life than they had of 2020. Imagine that. But there are a few panic-driven resolutions in the mix too. Like the determination to, I'm gonna beat this, to stare in a mirror every day and say, this year won't beat me. Well, that determination is commendable, but it's not a plan for change, and it's not a plan for a good do-over. Oh, one quick thing to add. The timing of New Year's resolutions bothers some people. I've heard know-it-alls waxing eloquent about the arbitrariness of moving from December 31st to January 1st because it's just another day. But this misses the symbolism of special days, how we feel them, how we experience them, and how that emotional response can be fuel for an effective do-over. For most who think of this as the turn from 2020 to 21, that is a symbol of newness, new beginnings, and you know I'm going to say it, a chance at a do-over. Some use their birthday, others use an anniversary. Some people actually use April 15th because that's when they realize, I really have to get my finances together. These symbolic dates mean something because of the way they make us feel. So what if we could bottle that feeling that we feel at midnight on December 31st and make that bottle last the entire year? If one of those special days is your trigger, go for it. Now, if you're the 5, 10, or 20-year plan type of people, you know who you are. You might like Elon Musk's advice, an icon of risk-taking and success. Stop being patient and start asking yourself, how do I accomplish my 10-year plan in 6 months? You will probably fail, but you will be a lot further ahead of the person who simply accepts that it was going to take 10 years. Whether it's a poem a day or your 10-year plan, maybe even attempting it in 6, I hope your 2021 is not only better than 2020, but is the best year of your life. And if you're ready to start a new year, with or without resolutions, I wish you a fan-friggin-tastic new year. What are your resolutions? Do you even make resolutions? Let me know in the comments. And tell YouTube that you like this content by tapping the like button. And as always, please subscribe. Happy New Year, and I'm so glad you found me and I found you. Thank you.